A long, long, long time ago, in a faraway land, there were two kingdoms. One was called Happy Land, while the other was called Sad Lands. In Happy Land, a very, very small king told jokes night and day, keeping everyone very, very jolly.
Because then it wouldn't be empty.
On the other side of the great mountains, deep, deep inside the forest of brambles, was Sad Lands, where a very, very miserable prince lived. The slightest hint of happiness caused him to fall into a violent rage. The prince had a magic crystal ball where he watched over Happy Lands. The more he watched, the more angry he got, until finally steam was coming out of his ears.
Oh, why do these people have to be so happy? I hate happiness. If I can't be happy, why should anyone else be happy?
Prince Glummerlot sat on his own in the dark castle, pondering how he could make everyone in Happy Lands completely and utterly miserable. The next morning, as the king woke from his happy sleep, one of his servants came running in.
King Laugh-a-Lot, Prince Glummerlot has taken Princess Gigglepot from us in the night. All he has left is this utterly miserable note.
When you tell me the secret of happiness, I will return your daughter. But I don't know the secret of happiness.
The king summoned his most trusted men and giants to his room. Sir Itsy Bitsy, Tiny, the friendly giant, and a weird-looking boy named Stephen.
Any man or giant who can save my daughter from this wretched Prince Glummerlot shall have a hand in marriage.
I'd like to help King Laugh-a-Lot. I might be very small, but I'm very, very stupid.
I would like to help, but, I left my refrigerator running and I better go and catch it. I love Princess Gigglepot with all my heart. I miss her sweet smile and how she picks me flowers. I shall do whatever it takes to bring her home so we can all feel happy again.
And so, the story has it that Tiny left for Sad Lands. He travelled through the whispering forest, where the trees whispered, obviously. At the end of the whispering forest, the giant came across a clearing. Out of nowhere, a strange magical creature, Elfel, popped up from her burrow.
What are you doing here? Where do you think you're going? What are you doing here? You can't just cross the cursed lake like that, you know. It only leads to misery.
But I need to save Princess Gigglepot. Everyone is so unhappy in Happy Lands since she disappeared. She is trapped in the castle of Sad Lands and could only ever be miserable. Oh no! I'm trapped here forever!
Ah, maybe we better take this then.
Elfel passed Tiny a very grotty old-looking sponge.
What am I going to do with this tatty sponge? Clean something?
You'll know what to do with it when the time is right.
Without delay, the giant walked on. Suddenly, a cold wind swept across the landscape as the lake came into view. 4 tigers guarded the entrance.
Don't go on to the lake today, we'll swallow you up and say, forever you will be sad and blue, unless you can soak it up is the clue.
But how can I do that?
You already have the answer, so the path should become clear.
Suddenly, big rocks rose out of the lake to create a pathway to the other side. Without thinking, Tiny stepped onto the first stone. The waves got bigger and bigger.
Jinx!
Suddenly, Tiny heard the tiger's voices in his head.
Soak it up is the clue.
Tiny pulled the sponge out of his pocket, looked at it briefly, and then threw it into the waters. Suddenly, there was a gushing sound as all the water drained from the lake, making the way free for Tiny to get to the other side. Tiny saw a very, very small wooden hut perched on the edge of the lake. He walked over and knocked on the door 3 times. The door swung open and a hairy-looking old man and a white goat peered out curiously.
Why has Prince Glummerlot stolen the princess and made everyone so unhappy?
Only miserable people know misery.
Why doesn't he stop being miserable then?
The cursed lake swallowed him up and condemned him to an eternity of misery. The only way the spell can be broken
is if he learns the secret of happiness.
It's that way.
The wise man handed Tiny a golden key. The giant arrived at the horrible gates.
Those who dare to pass the horrible gate should know that misery is the curse of those who want more than they are prepared to give.
And so the giant stomped across the path and into the castle. Tiny found the prince sitting on a hard stone throne, all alone with a plate of Brussels sprouts by his side.
I suppose you're here to take her away then, and I'll never ever know the secret to happiness.
I know you don't mean to be mean, but you can't expect to be happy if you treat everyone so miserably.
That's it, isn't it? You're more likely to be happy if you're kind.
A little smile appeared across the prince's face. At first he began to chuckle, then he began to snort, and then, without hesitation, he started to roar with laughter. At last, the horrible, horrible curse was broken. And so, the giant and the princess returned to Happy Lands to great cheers.